Only 2 days ago, we heard that passage of the Gospel of Matthew where Jesus taught us how to pray the Our Father. And today, again, in this first week of Lent, the Gospel is talking about prayer. Now, in this part where the Lord talks about prayer, He does it in a very mysterious way. He says, "Seek and you will find, ask and you will be given, knock and the door will be opened." And I say mysterious because it's hard to understand how these words are true. Because it may seem like God is a suggestion box where you put your needs and it responds to you immediately. But I think that what the Lord is saying is true, but it's nuanced. Like these words are true in certain conditions, but it's strange because the Lord doesn't spell out every condition in which this is true. But the first reading does. The first reading does show us when it is true what the Lord is saying in the gospel. What do we hear in the first reading? It talks about Queen Esther. Do you guys remember the story of Queen Esther? Her situation was desperate. She had to plead for her people. The king had decreed that all the Israelites were to be exterminated. And she asked for the chance to speak with the king. But you know what the rules were then? If you asked to speak with the king without him calling you, if he displeased your desire to speak with him, you would be killed. So she was risking her life in asking for an audience with the king. And she had to plead with him. So listen to what she says. She knew her situation was desperate, and she says, "Help me, who am alone and have no help but you." To me, there's the key. You know when our prayer is totally efficient? When our prayer is purified. What does that mean? When truly you make recourse to God when nothing else works. That's when God listens. When you find yourself in such a desperate situation, when you can't solve it with your intelligence, you can't solve it with your influence, you can't solve it with your human resources, when truly your prayer is fully purified. And today, when I was meditating with these words, I was asking myself, when was the last situation that I turned to the Lord and I saw the Lord responding? And you know what my answer is? When I was desperate. When I really came to Him with a purified prayer. So today, brothers and sisters, let me finish with this question. In whatever you're asking of God currently, in whatever need you have, in whatever distress you find yourself, are you truly coming to Him with a purified prayer? Is it true that you're turning to Him because, like Queen Esther, you are alone and have no help but Him? Remember, the words of the gospel are true, but those words are nuanced. Our prayer will always be efficient or will always be heard when our prayer is purified enough by desperate situations.